You cannot have happiness in your life without being grateful for what it is you're happy. The peace, the love, the joy, the happiness, it all is derived from the place of gratitude. Hey, what's up? This is Brad with Be Real. Hey, I wanted to talk to you guys about something, and I'm going to keep going back to giving you all businesses, all people, anything from, a baseball coach to any type of leader, definitely business, sales. Everybody's always looking for the advantage. People, successful people, individuals, you're always trying to look for the advantage over your competition, or what can give you the advantage over the competition, or what would make your brand or you better. And so I'm going to try to keep going back to that, because that's really what I want to talk to you guys about. But as I was getting ready for this, I was thinking, think how many billions and billions of dollars people spend on their businesses, like just from a physical aspect of their business. How much it costs to build some big huge retail store, or how much does it cost to build some of these mega grocery stores, or how much does it cost to build these malls? And not only that, but any type of businesses, any businesses that you see online, any businesses that you interact with, and then think of the literally billions of dollars in advertising that people spend, from everything from a pop-up on social media to an ad on TV to any type of digital advertising, news advertising. It's consumerism, and how much money people spend, one, for their business, two, how much money they spend to keep attracting and trying to attract more customers. And I read this deal just recently, said, instead of you thinking that you need to go in and take something, or take some business from somebody else or whatever, you really should think about, what can I give and how can I service people and do a better job of servicing people, which kind of leads me into where we're headed. And it's come about because, and I'm not going to be negative and sound like, this old guy or whatever, but the wife and I have just noticed how customer service has kind of deteriorated. Now, before you turn on, go, he's going to talk about customer service. That's not really what I'm going to want to keep coming back to, and I want to keep saying this. I'm going to talk to it in an aspect of how it can give you an advantage, and how it can give you advantage over your competition, or how it can make you better. And, and part of the reason being too is you have so many businesses that are like, man, how can I get more customers? And, what can I do to maximize my advertising budget to get more customers? Well, let me break this to you, bro. I hate to tell this to you, but do all the research you want. But people that see advertising wherever it is, only less than 10% of them believe what they're telling you to be true. So that's first of all. So you got to think billions and billions of dollars of advertising, and only 1 out of 10 people actually believe it. And then very fewer than those people actually go, I need to hop in my car and go take action on this. But if somebody refers somebody to a business, 75% chance they're going to go there. Now, here's where I'm going with this deal. But check this out. If somebody says, hey man, tell me about a good place to go buy shoes. And if somebody says, hey, go check this place out, there's a 70% chance that they're going to go there, and almost a 90% chance when they get there, they're going to buy. So here's the paradox of this deal. Here's what I want you to think about. Instead of thinking about how do I grow business, or how do I take business from somebody else, really what you need to be thinking on is how do I do a better job of facilitating and taking care of these people that I have that are coming in the door? Because it's 4 times easier to sell somebody that's already been here. And so instead of thinking about how do I build this, it's called customer facing. I can't tell you how many meetings I've been in about customer facing, and how we had audit teams that audited the exterior of the building. And we had people that spent all this money on display, and making sure displays were all choreographed and they're all in the same place. And, they spent hours and hours and hours of picking the right merchandise, all to try to grow business. But the part that kind of blows my mind is we don't really think about, well, why don't we just take better care of the people that are coming in the door, or people that are calling us, or people that are emailing us? I'll get into that in a second. Or who are we coming in contact with now, and how can we make this a better experience for them? Because if we will, I say this all the time, and I've said this on a podcast before, if you're selling $100,000 vehicle to somebody and they buy it, chances are they have a bunch of friends that can afford $100,000 vehicle too. Or if you're selling, a $200 pair of shoes, there's more than likely the person buying those shoes, they have friends. Whatever the service is, whatever the product is, whatever it is that you're selling, that if you just thought, well, maybe I take better care of this person that's standing in front of me and he'll refer people to me. One, it's cheaper than advertising. Two, it's more effective. I already told you 70% of the people referred to you actually come to you, and 90% of those people buy. So we've just got this whole thing all flipped around. And all this kind of started from, the customer experience. Let's say a customer experience and customer service that the wife and I have been experiencing when we go out places. And I'm just going to tell you a couple deals that happened. One was a long time ago. I was a member. I had a membership to probably one of the nicest gyms in my area. And, but man, I'm telling you, and like I said, I'm not even negative, not going to say the name of it. These people were to bordering on rude. Like, you would walk in, they'd point at the machine to scan your card. You'd go in, work out. Not one human being would ever even speak to you, right? And I thought about this. This has been about 12 years ago or something. I thought, man, if you were smart, what you would do is you would build a gym close to this gym, put all the same crap in it, and all you need to advertise is, hey, dude, come in. We're going to be nice to you. It just kind of blew my mind that they spent all this money, put a swimming pool in it, rock climbing walls, all this stuff in it, and didn't invest anything into getting the right people, even at the reception desk or whatever. And so, and then too, I don't go to the mall that often, but I went to the mall recently, and I'm just telling you guys this, and I'm like I said, I'm gonna go back into this is kind of what happens out there, and to give you an advantage, I went into the mall. I bought 3 articles of clothing from 3 different places, and I'm not kidding you guys. Not one human being uttered a word to me. Like, I bought this little ball cap that I wanted to wear, and I took it to the counter. Nobody said crap to me when I walked in. Nobody asked me what I could help with. Then when I took it to the counter, the person pointed at the machine to swipe the card, put the stuff in a bag, and handed it to me. Never uttered a single word. And so that is what's common that is out there. And I'm just telling you, and some of you are already thinking, all right, well, I'm done listening to this because he doesn't know what he's talking about. That ain't the way my business is. So let me tell you something straight up, and I want to look in the camera. Unless your ass is sending a secret shopper in to your business to make sure that they're doing things that you're asking them to do, that there's compliance in what you're asking them to do. Unless you're sending somebody in there in the evenings or when you're not there, you don't know what's going on in your business. And unless you have outside people calling your phone lines to see what the customer experience is, let me tell you another deal. Unless you have people from outside of your business emailing your business and your people to find out what the response time is like and how the response time is. Because I'm telling you, dude, everybody thought this emails and computers was just going to revolutionize business, and it was just going to be, like voicemails and leaving recordings. In my opinion, it's made it absolutely worse. Because I cannot tell you now, this is your situations where I'm trying to buy something, or my wife is trying to buy something, and this is not a customer complaint. We didn't email the person that's in the customer service area, which forget about getting an email back or call back from those people. This is a situation where you're emailing somebody and you're showing interest in their product that they spent billions of dollars to generate to make this business. They spent millions of dollars advertising their business. Now they can't even get to anybody to call your ass back. You see what I'm saying? To me, that just blows my mind. You've spent all this money building the building, doing the advertising, and you don't know what the interaction with the customer is. And I'm just telling you, if you would, and don't assume that it is what you think it is. Don't assume that whatever, I can't tell you, since I've been doing this Be Real Consulting, one of my first things is to go through the training that they already provide for people, and then go out and find out how much compliance they have in that. And it blows my mind that the training that they go through, and they say, all right, now when you get out there in the field, this is what you're going to see. And then you go to out into the field, and the first thing they tell you, all right, bro, here's the way this deal's going to go. Half that crap they taught you in training, we don't even use it. I'm like, then one, why are you training that way? Or two, why are the upper leaders of the company not making sure that there's compliance on the front row, the front lines of this deal? Even to, down to the minuscule things. And like I said, I'll quit, harping on the negative, but how many times have you gone through a drive through to order food and they don't say anything? They just get done and go, am I done? Did you get my order? Yeah, pull forward. It's like, okay, dude, I understand this is a drive through, but at the same time, and so some of you are thinking too, well, Brad, you don't know, which I do know, by the way. You don't know, man, how difficult it is to hire people, or how it is to hire people. I saw the owner of Chick-fil-A one time. They were asking him, they're like, dude, how do you have this just amazing culture, at Chick-fil-A? And how do you create this deal where your people are so kind to people? You know what his ass said? He said, we hire nice people. And so it doesn't matter how many you sell, how many you hire. It comes down to hiring great people. And another thing too, like I used to ask people, hey dude, what do you look for when you're in an interview? This kind of blew my mind. And this was from the frontline salespeople, sales managers that were hiring people, to store managers that were hiring people, and now that I've been in this other deal, no matter what the arena is that I'm helping in, the number one thing when they say, if you're in a situation where you're trying to hire somebody for customer service, somebody for sales, somebody to positively change the culture of your business, they go, you know what, man? We just find somebody that wants to talk. And that seems like it would be such an easy deal. But I'm just telling you, if you're having to pull words out of them and get them to communicate in the middle of an interview, their asses ain't going to do it when they get in front of a customer. And so, just the fact of what kind of eye contact do they have? Did you have to pull a conversation out of them? Did you have, what were they like? Because, if they're not, this is like the first date. If they're not on the first date impressing you already, how the hell do you think that they're going to act when they're in a building all by themselves late at night? How do you think they're going to treat people? You already know how they're going to treat people. So don't assume. But back to the whole deal I keep saying, and I'm going to keep saying this until I wear you out. It gives you an advantage. It gives you an advantage. It makes your bit, like, I cannot tell you how many things are on social media, or how many things I'm reading, or how many emails I get that it's like, oh, I went into this place and they were super nice to me and I just wanted to post about it. I'm like, basically what they're saying is that shit never happens. So because this stuff never happens, and I happen to run into somebody that was nice to me or went out of their way to do something kind for me, I want to let you all know about it instead of it being the norm. So if it's such a rarity that people want to post it online, then that just tells you that's how you get an advantage over your competition. And I just happened to get this today. It was an email from a guy. It basically, he's an executive for a corporation and he's trying to get me to connect with him. But the whole way he was doing it was basically he went into a coffee shop. The barista greeted me with a grin, quick compliment, love your Brooklyn Dodgers shirt, handed me a cup of coffee. So basically he went over the whole deal of experiencing the coffee shop, and his whole pillar that he's trying to get to people to use his company to help them to help their company is just to making people cordial and respectful and kind. And if you do that, the whole email was about, hey, dude, I ran into a coffee shop. The person was nice to me. I'm telling you, I can use these philosophies and take these philosophies into your business, and it's going to grow your business. And I want to say this again, too. I know what you're sitting there thinking. Brad, you don't know shit about my business. My business is solid. Then Send somebody in there to check your business. Have somebody call on the phone and see what kind of experience they get. Have somebody email your business, ask them a business like, hey, I'm interested in buying this, this, and this. I can't decide between these three things. Email me back and see what the response time is on that. I'm telling you, my wife did it, and I don't even want to go into where it was, but she had to email somebody 4 times because it was kind of an exclusive deal that she wanted. She had to email somebody 4 times to get somebody to call her back so that she could give them their money. And I was just like, finally, she had to call somebody else that she knew was associated to the business. He called one of the salespeople, and the salespeople called my wife. Uh, and we wanted to spend money. It wasn't a complaining deal. So what it comes down to is customer relations, customer service, customer hospitality. There's 3 ways to interact with people. 1 is acknowledging people. 2 is making somebody feel special. And the 3rd is being hospitable, going above and beyond, doing more than what people expect them to do. That's kind of been a deal around our house. Because we're asking and expecting great things to happen around our house. So if you're expecting and asking for great things to happen, then you got to give great things. And so we've really been focused on even giving more. And this goes to that deal. And I've said this before in another podcast. If you ever wake up in the morning and say, you know what, man, I need to make a move in my life. I need to make my life better. I need to sell more. I need to be more impactful. I'm going to be more intense. I'm telling you right now, you're wrong. You're wrong. The answer is not to go faster. The answer is not to get more intense. Answer is not to get more intentional. The answer is not to hold more stupid meetings about things that people don't care about. I'm telling you, if you want the frontline people to be a certain way, that's how you need to be. If you want to move the needle with the people closest related to you, then improve the relationship with those people. If you want to have your people and your teams provide a better service, then you be a better servant to your people. I mean, they're not going to be different to the customers than they are to you, which I've talked about that before. And the other crazy part that you can see, I've been thinking about this, is there's a thing now called an omni shopper. And so all this stuff to be true, whether you believe it is true or not, I'm telling you it's true. And the more businesses I get in contact, the more business I figured out it is true. But there's this person called an omni shopper out there. And basically, they make this thing extremely competitive for us. And so the old days of having a grocery store sitting on a corner or having a store sitting on a corner and, you're going to get all the business that's close to you or drives close to you. No, bro, that's not how the way it happens. These people are very resourceful. It's not all about the price. They're going to figure out how they can get it to them the quickest. They're going to figure out who is the nicest to them, who got it. But I'm telling you, not everybody. Sometimes it becomes a transaction as far as price wise. But I'm telling you, people will do business with people and maybe pay a little bit more if they're going to get treated nice. And, it's not always about getting it the cheapest if you have to go to the place and it has a terrible customer experience. A couple other things that'll give you an advantage. Or when I say this to give you an advantage, please make sure that your people on the front lines that are communicating with your customers are implementing these things and utilizing these things too. And one of them is empathy. If for some reason they do get a call and something didn't go completely correct, first of all, let me just tell you, I want to apologize that this happened to you. It is not something that happens all the time, but that shit don't matter. This deal has happened to you. So I want to apologize. The other thing, I've said this before in a TikTok deal, and I'm saying this to you leaders or you parents or you husbands or you wives, or a leader of a crap load of people. Do you know the quickest way, if you're in a situation where the business situation is choppy or the relationship is choppy or business is going a certain direction, let me tell you the biggest thing for you to do. Pull everybody together and go, hey guys, I've just noticed there's some friction. I've just noticed business has gotten a little choppy. I just noticed we've kind of gotten off course here. I just want to tell you this. I want to apologize for my part in this and just stop. And they're going to go, wait, did he just apologize for something that probably wasn't even his fault? Yeah, you need to do it. It's probably one of the strongest tools a leader can use. And people think, well, I'm not going to do that because then that makes me weak. No, actually, it actually makes you look strong by taking credit for whatever the situation is. I guarantee you, whatever the situation is, you had a hand in that situation being in that spot. And some of that comes from wherever you're at today, comes from because of your actions and the way you thought several days ago. And so if you want to change the place and change where you're currently residing, you want that place to change. You have to change the way you speak, and you have to change the way you talk. So the quickest way to change is to say, you know what, man, here's the deal. I was wrong. I apologize for my part in this deal. Let's get this deal back on track, because ultimately the deal is to move things forward. The other thing is patience, and making sure that people have a positive attitude. And you know what? Sometimes you have to fake it till you make it. But I'm just telling you, it's possible. And it's possible to have people, and you need to be communicating that on a regular basis. I personally managed a lot of people, and I don't know of too many people that were uber successful that weren't positive people. I don't know too many people that were those pessimistic, negative people. So you have to communicate to your people that, look, man, I'm just telling you as a person, I want to help you. I want to help you be more productive. I want to help you be more successful. I want to help you be a better parent. But one of those things to do is to be far more positive and way less pessimistic. There's this other deal that I just wanted, and I'll probably bring it up more than one time. There's 4 things that will help with what I'm talking about with the hospitality, and there's 4 things that'll help them: is effort, execution, enthusiasm. Effort, execution, enthusiasm towards being hospitable, be towards the customer relation, and you know what? A little bit of intensity. And intensity is not always a bad thing. That intensity, if you can be you can be intense, you can be intensely kind, you can be intensely compassionate. But those 4 things, the cool thing about those 4 things is effort, execution, enthusiasm, and intensity. They're absolutely free. They have nothing to do with talent. They have nothing to do with who your parents are. They have nothing to do with how much money you have. It is a choice. They are things you choose to do, and you have to. The same thing about closing a deal has to be the same mentality in hospitality. It has to be the same mentality in how you treat other people. It has to be. You need to be absolutely obsessed with it. I was in this situation with a friend of mine, and I was explaining to him whatever the hardship or whatever the deal we were struggling with at work. And he looked at me and goes, Brad, here's the deal, buddy. The only thing that goes on in your business is what you allow to go on in your business. So if you allow people to be enthusiastic, if you allow people to give no effort or little effort, if you allow people to not execute, then they're not going to execute. You just tell them, look, I understand maybe we've allowed that a little bit before, but we need this deal to happen. We need you to do these things I'm asking you to do. The other thing is professionalism. It doesn't matter what position you're in or what you're doing. You can talk and act and present yourself in a professional manner and train people, man. I'm going to tell you this. I really, I got cynical there. It's hard not to be cynical sometimes about things, about people just do crap the way you don't want them to do because they just don't want to do it right. That's not true. I really found that the majority of people, about 90% of people, would really like to do it right, but they either, one, don't understand what it is that I'm trying to get them to do, or they haven't been trained properly to do what I'm asking them to do. I'm just telling you guys, go back to the beginning of this deal. You can make, and I'll tell you this too. We all, majority place, we're in June 2025. There's the business can be a little tender here, or some people are doing really well here. But I'm gonna tell you guys, The quickest way for you to control your outcome on this deal is stop worrying about how more effective you can make advertising. Stop worrying about how much you can get, how much more you can get people to come to your buildings, or how many phone calls you get, or how many emails you get, how you can make your ad slicker, how you can make your web page slicker. No, stop. You already have people that are come in contact with your business. The quickest way to grow your business is to grow your referrals. And I will tell you this, they call them KPIs, key performance metrics, or they call them just metrics themselves. But I'm just telling you, if you don't have a metric in place to measure your repeat business or measure your referrals, you have to do that, because that should be the main measuring stick on. Yes, it's important to keep up with your closing ratio, but you also at the same time need to measure how many people within your organization have repeat business. And I'll tell you, the company that I did a tremendous amount of tremendous amount of time with, we measured return guests. And it by far was the biggest barometer on whether people were going to be successful or unsuccessful. How many people did they get in on a monthly basis on their own, from their own networking, to get in, to come to them, to see them for whatever it is. And I've, no matter what industry I've gone to since that time with my Be Real business, when I go in there, I find out first, do they have a way that they're measuring repeat business? If they don't, I implement it. And then once I implement it, we start measuring it. And I found every business I've been involved with, the person that gets the most referrals and repeat business, because people like to refer people that were nice to them. So anyway, I'll say it one more time. Stop worrying about what your building looks like. Yeah, it's important. Stop worrying about how much dollars you're spending in advertising. Yeah, it's important. Stop worrying about where your advertising is running. Yeah, it's important. But only 10% of the people are going to believe that anyway. But 70% of the people, if your people are nice to people and they go out of their way to do things above and beyond what they're expected to do. And, one of the things I always tell people too is, if you have a $500 transaction, treat that customer like they're 5,000. If it's a $5,000 transaction, treat that customer like it's a $50,000 transaction. You treat the people above the grade of which they're buying from you. And when you do that, at some point in time, I'll tell you another deal is uh, uh, there's a jewelry store. I don't normally plug, but there's a jewelry store, 101st in Sheridan in Tulsa. And my wife and I were just talking about this yesterday. I took a piece of jewelry there, and I meant to bring the card with me, but I took a piece of jewelry there to get it repaired. We've taken watches there, and I got a thank you card the other day for me taking in my piece of jewelry to get it repaired. Now, when we do decide to buy jewelry, where do you think we're going? We're going to go to the place that sent me a thank you card for an $80 repair. That's where I'm going. And that's the mentality that you have to have. All right, guys, thanks for your time. I hope this is helpful to you. Everything I've said in this whole podcast costs you nothing. It costs you nothing. It's free. It's absolutely just choosing people to change. They need to be as tenacious and focused and hyper focused on successful of hospitality and customer relations than they are closing a deal. If they are that way, I'm telling you, your business will go. You guys go have a great day and be real.